welcome back to Two Kims,
One
One
pod.
Pod. I am your host, Unji Kim.
And I'm the other one, Peter Kim. Welcome back.
Hi, welcome back. I before we get started, I did want to go back to the other when we're talking about the splintering of fandoms
From last week.
from last week. I will say that I am wearing the same shirt. Maybe we should change shirts just to make it seem like it's a different time. But but there is this moment that I've been noticing inside of culture when we're talking about the splintering of fan bases and teaching, in that like even woke and like liberalism is starting to fracture, right?
Thank God. Thank
The way that
God.
people have been coming for Ezra Klein.
Oh, yeah, since the Ta-Nehisi Coates interview.
Ah,
I mean, I get it.
I get it.
Yeah,
I mean, I also, what a wonderful time to be having this conversation
correct.
after the
Break it.
election.
Yeah, I know. Break it down for us, for those of us who haven't seen the interview.
So Ezra Klein has a podcast on the New York Times podcast network. He had he basically engaged Charlie Cook and Ben Shapiro on his podcast and has been engaging with very conservative thought leaders and not challenging them on really blatant things, really blatant inconsistencies, and not giving what people think is the journalistically in
Pressure.
yes,
Yeah.
like something that would like journalistically in like having integrity around it. Like they don't think
Right.
that he's pushing, and especially also towing sort of the New York Times liberal line,
Moderate line. Yes.
right? And they're very upset. They can't believe he's platforming these people. And then subsequent to that outcry,
Uh-huh.
um, he's Natasi Coates what was it? Came on and really challenged and was saying that this platforming is incredibly dangerous,
Yeah.
right? And people were so relieved, and it really did. And watching Ezra be so deeply chastened,
Uh-huh.
right? If you look at the video, he is. It does feel like a dog that's been has having his head pushed
Shit.
in his shit.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you
he's
smell what
realizing how he's being complicit
and
in real time.
in real time, and
Yeah.
also understanding how not only dangerous but also painful and hurtful it is for people that are out here,
Yep.
right?
To
That are
people who don't
depending
look
on
like you, who are not directly affected by their hate speech.
and aren't living in this liberal bubble,
Right.
insulated
Right.
by New York,
Correct.
right? And all of his cultural privilege.
Coastal elite.
I mean, like truly, and so he's getting to engage with all these questions and all these political truths theoretically.
Right.
And what people are saying to him is that these are not not theories; these are policies
Real
that are
life.
being enacted, real
Correct.
life. And so, seeing that fracture online and seeing the reaction to that, along with inside of my class and knowing a lot of young people and being out here, and you can attest to it probably, Peter, like seeing younger comics, there is a real fracturing that's occurring among the young between kind of rebelling against the over wokeism of the last 5 to 10 years. And when I say over wokeism, I don't mean the idea of like giving trans people their due or like anything about actual rights. It's about
You're
the
talking about
terminology.
performative.
Performative. That's right. The virtue signaling.
Correct.
The the pussy hatification
Yeah.
of liberalism,
Yes.
right? And the way that the youngs are really coming for it
Uh-huh.
and pointing out the hypocrisy of it really does give my little punk heart so much warmth.
I
right?
love it.
It
Yeah.
warms cockles, right?
Correct.
Like the way that they're coming for the she theys and the performative type of gender, like the way that like people used to
Neutrality.
come, the way that people used to come for by women that were
Uh-huh.
doing it to be hot to men
Yeah.
is the same way they're coming for the she they.
Okay. Great.
right? And the way that the youngs are talking to each other about it is just as nuanced. And also because they all came up in the same culture, there is a shorthand there
Uh-huh.
that if you're an older person feels like mean and sort of regressive.
Mm.
But because they are of the same era and they grew up in the same, it's actually not, right? Like they are just calling each other out in the same sort of way where, when you tell a friend to be real,
Yeah. Good.
like,
That's
you know,
awesome. I love that.
yes. And it's so fun because
And
so
the whites
many
are doing it to the other whites? Okay.
and
See
the
this.
gays are no, absolutely. And the gays are doing it to the other gays.
Great. This is what we needed.
Yes.
Because the rest of us been upset with the whites and how they perform liberalism.
Yes.
And whatever, call whites whatever you want. You don't have to be actually white, but you could be culturally white.
Mhm.
And we've been talking about that since day one, 2017.
Yes.
And now 8 years later, the whites are calling out the other whites. This is great. This goes back to the Taylor Swift fandom. Like the white girls are fighting the white girls. It's no This is the civil war we've been looking for.
This is the Civil War I wanted to see inside of the
Correct.
Marvel universe, right?
Correct.
This is
The
this is
splintering.
the splintering. This is the Civil War because when you have that conversation, I think it is destined to be more nuanced
Right.
because it is not black or white. It is not along color lines. It's not along anything about anything except for the ideological differences,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
You can't paint it with a broad brush because it's the same color.
Well, I think that really signals that if the whites are turning on themselves, things have gotten bad. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
culturally, economically, financially, like things are breaking, that means. Because the whites have been unified in that we hate this experience for you, fully knowing I'm not experiencing any of it. But
But I will acknowledge the land that
that we stand on.
we stand on,
Yes.
that we are taking from you actually, but we do
Yeah.
acknowledge it. And we are letting about 2 to 3 of the people of color just stand on this land. And we
Yes.
are acknowledging that. So like,
Yeah, I see this happening because I did a random show the other day, and there were some Gen Z. It was like Gen Z versus millennials, like gays, and it was
yes,
like a
yes,
show, and the Gen Z gays were like fully like trans, queer, whatever, and then of course we were like the two cis gays,
yeah.
and they were very much at one point dragging us for our caping for Obama and how all of them hate Obama or anyone that's ever been president or any like there's not even so it's a very like burn down the system vibe versus like we can correct the ship. Like that's the big divide right now.
And that should be the vibe. That should be the vibe. Like Obama is their original Hitler. Bush was our
Correct.
original
Correct. Correct.
Hitler. You know what I mean? Like that to me feels like a generational divide that is correct. That's how it
Yes,
should be.
that's how it should be because we are the old and we only know how we were raised. They only know how they were raised, which was by Gen Xers
And
who are worse than
and
us.
this is what
So,
I'm saying. And the thing is, like, this is what worries me is that typically the way that generational conversations have occurred is what we're describing. We're like, oh, you youngs, blah, 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 blah. You don't know how are things better? And it's like, I was there was this conversation that this woman who was like in her night, she was like who had seen the turn of the century, right?
uh,
From the 1800s to the 1900s, and like seen the world really change. And this was in the 60s or something, and they were asking her like, what do you think about all this like innovation, the television, radio, and the telephone? And she literally says the same thing that people from the 90s say about
internet.
pre-internet,
Yeah.
pre-social media. It's like, yeah, it's wonderful, but also like, weren't
It's
we
ruining the
happier back
generation.
then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Weren't we happier back then? And the thing is, that is correct. the thing that I worry about, why some of the conversation feels a little skewed, is because we are actually telling the younger generation to fail harder, to act more recklessly, right? Like we are encouraging them to be actually more young acting, right? There's so much about where like they're not fucking enough, they're not going out enough. They're like all these things that make me feel like, why am I, as the old person, telling young people this, right? I should be telling them, oh, whoa, 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 like that's so much progress.
Yeah.
But instead, there's a little bit of this regressive nature in it, right? Especially with older Gen Z regarding like language policing, like sort of like the fascistic left as it's described, right? That's what worries me. But the youngs, these young Gen Zs, they don't give a fuck, right? That's it's very much like Obama, original Hitler,
Yeah.
Biden, Goebbels, right? Trump is actually the bomb. And
Yeah.
like it's all of this sort of that feels encouraging. I just wish they were more willing to make more mistakes. And when you're talking about Gen
Yeah.
X, it is absolutely that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Gen Z is too online and afraid to look bad. And that in itself is troubling for any type of humanity because you're, I mean, maybe it, I don't know, actually. I take that back because it's harkening back to kind of like Korea of like this kind of communal shame thing that we didn't have in America for a while. And now it's kind of taking shape of this like, yeah, they're afraid to fail, but they're also afraid to do anything fucked up because they know the consequences of a digital footprint. You know, that was kind of like metaphorically how Confucianism works. Is like, hey, if you do one thing wrong, then everyone's gonna know, and it's gonna be your family, and you're gonna be shamed, and you're gonna be wangda. You know, like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna be a
yeah, sure.
pariah. That didn't exist in America until recently, and that's
But it's
through
but
social
it's
media.
but it's also about how you actually physically treated your neighbor, right? With online, you can actually be heinous to
Correct,
each
correct.
other,
Yes, yes.
right? So it's like
But
it's
if
this
you're not,
breakdown
if
of it.
you can get filmed doing it,
Sure. But I mean, the
you know, like
medicine,
that's
the net,
always in the back of a Gen Z's mind is like, is someone going to capture me doing this?
I
I've
mean, but the
never
net is,
thought that once.
and I
That's why
should.
I, that's what I know. That's why I walk around acting crazy. But no one's for me because he's like, clearly he's over 40. What clout does he have?
Clearly, she's over 40. I can't even see her. We actually
Yeah.
don't even
No.
exist. That's the
Yeah. Yeah.
reason why we can act however we want to act.
She's
But
just a teat for her kids.
like there is a part of netizen culture in Korea that feels like to me a cautionary tale more
Sure.
than any of
Sure.
this. But also, you know, there's when we think about America and like sort of the audacity of there are things that are very scary about it, like the manifest destiny of it. But I will also say there are things about it that are really. I just recently traveled internationally, and I with to Canada to Montreal. If you
Wow.
guys,
Up north.
if you, yes,
Why
and
were
if
you in
anybody
Montreal?
truly like a girls trip, just
But
a
like,
straight up
why Montreal?
because my friend lives in Toronto, and it's actually not a
Oh,
crazy flight from for anybody. So if you're like even midway, it's a 2 hour flight, and it
oh,
was under $250,
and it was so
and
cute.
it was because
I
everyone's speaking
hear
French. It's
French.
bonjour, it's bonjour,
Yes.
bonsoir,
Yeah.
merci. You know what I mean?
Aujourd'hui.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know. So it is really delightful, and but being there, and it is very European,
Yeah.
right? I have a friend that is very, very American, right? And she reminded me and reminds me constantly of the joy of being an American, right? She sees a situation and as opposed to being like, okay, and accepting it, she's like, but what if? And asks. It feels like and the thing is, and then it actually winds up being great, right? There are so many good things about that where I was um I was reminded of this time when I did a show and I actually met a woman from France who had become a citizen that day. Right? This was not too long ago.
Uh-huh.
And she and I really like bonded over like our immigrant love of America and how disappointed and all this stuff, what that means, right?
Uh-huh.
Because being and loving being an immigrant and loving America does not mean that you are looking past any of its flaws, right? But we also know that if she wanted to become a citizen of some other country, you have to pass a language proficiency test. You have to live there. You have to have assets. You have to do a whole bunch of shit. And
Yeah.
if you want to be a citizen of America, you don't have to do any of that.
Uh-huh.
Like my parents, both my mom passed the citizenship test by feel, right?
Yeah. My mom failed a couple of times.
That's what I mean. You just got to kind of be like, okay, seems to be the question they're asking. And these are the sounds that I need to be putting out,
Yeah.
right? And that right now inside of the conservative movement, that this idea like a push for English as the national language, blah, 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 that actually makes us more like Europe,
Hmm.
right? The point that a person can come here and do like none of that and actually still make a living, that's actually what's fucking awesome about America. Right.
Right.
The fact that all the inconvenience, like, oh yeah, I get into this cab and this person, yeah, isn't it exciting for that guy?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't even know what the fuck is up, but he's driving by feel. You're getting to the airport on time. Everybody wins. Like, he makes $50 and his kids get to go to a state university and they ultimately become the engineers that make you a better car. Like, that's the magic of all this. And, for me anyway, though, it was just like, a good reminder inside of this current climate and how dark shit is that like sometimes it is nice to have big refrigerators and
Oh yeah.
wide highways.
Oh yeah.
and,
Anytime you
and
travel outside of the US, especially in the summer, you're like, fuck the rest of this shit world. How dare you not have air conditioning? What is wrong with your plumbing system? How come I can't
hello?
flush anything? Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So yeah, it's good to travel to become a patriot.
I mean, it really is like one of those things where I, you know, I will just say that I tend to, I tend to like accept things or like try to work. I never ask like, why is something like this or demand more. And it is like, that is to me a very American spirit thing. And that's why it's very annoying to people abroad, right? Like, this person
Asking
wants
for
air
more?
conditioning.
Yeah,
Asking,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, wanting air conditioning. They
Can I
want
get
ice.
ice? Yeah, exactly. They're like, you're American, you have enough ice.
Yes. Like, why do you want to drink this cold? Well, you fucking American. Like,
Yeah.
you want
Coffee
things to be,
is hot. We brew it hot, you drink it hot.
yeah, we know we brew it hot, you drink it lukewarm. Like, it's like, you want everything so nice. And
Yeah.
it is one of those things that I really am grateful for that. Like but also with, at least with the youngs, like they will see that too. But I don't, that's what we should be as like the older generation, right? We should be the
Right.
ones being like, like kind of telling the youngs, like, you don't know how good you have it. And I don't know if the youngs always feel that way. And especially as I teach more, um, I am the younger generations, like each class that I get, the new class that I get that's younger,
Yeah.
is more and more going towards what young people should be. And I do think the pandemic 100% fucked up, like,
A whole swath of people.
yeah,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
in a real way.
They're gonna
There
be
are
like
all
the
these,
lost generation, like the older Gen Zs who had to graduate on Zoom. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, like that's truly
If
like
you're
to
one of these
me,
guys,
yeah.
girls, I'm so sorry because you don't, no one deserves that. Like we, Unji and I were millennial grads. We graduated the year of 2000, and people were like, "There's nothing but hope and dreams for these kids."
Truly, we were like,
Truly,
we were living in the millennium. You know what I mean? There was like nothing but
nothing could
uh,
stop us.
nothing could stop us.
Yes, we were
Like
propelled by early global policies, a lot of outsourcing to of industry, and we were getting rich and using other people's slave labor.
we were writing .com after real estate boom. Like, we were like kind of riding those waves and falls, whatever. But like, and also we are part of this large movement with the Iraq war. We got to see and collectively as a generation become part of an awakening that was not fractured.
Yep.
right? If you were young, you were fucking down and you were with it.
Yes.
It did. We did
Yes.
not have this like weird, and everyone
No.
was fucking.
When I was 19, I wasn't fucking, but I was fucking politics. Like I was riled up about W, and I was so upset that we were going into these places that we didn't like. I felt like America first. Like back then was like, why are we going in here? Clearly for oil and weapons and whatever, toppling people and insurgency, whatever. All of that was happening, and like my brain at that time, and because of internet too, because remember
Mhm.
that was like early Kanye being like George Bush hates black people, Katrina,
Oh my
remember all
God.
that?
Yes. And
Peak Kanye, Peak
that's peak.
Kanye,
We got to experience peak
we got
Kanye,
Peak Kanye.
and we also had cat I can has cheeseburger.
Hello, exactly. High low. So we were the first, I think, the millennials were the first generation to be like, huh? Something's not right. Like before that, it was like, are you left? Are you right? Like
Hmm.
the government and representation and we vote and civic duty and all of the Epsteiny type shit
Hmm.
was heavily hush hushed and concealed.
Right.
And we didn't know shit from shit unless someone printed it on a newspaper, you know?
Right. Right.
But
Or
because
if
of
someone knew
internet,
somebody, or someone, unless we knew someone that had been actively trafficked.
right. Right.
You
So
know what I
like
mean?
there
It's
was no
peer to
way
peer.
to like connect any dots or even really have crazy Pizzagate conspiracies because there weren't that many people. Maybe there were people talking, but there weren't many people talking publicly. And then the
Sure.
internet really blew that up. And I think we all, like you and I, our generation, we really started coming into our adulthood knowing a little more than our parents ever did. And we were like, oh, whoa, this is not what we thought, you
I
know?
mean, we had this similar thing as the boomers with they had with Watergate, right? They had their moment of like, oh my
Right,
God, the government is not right. But then they
right.
became a part of the
Ruling
establishment,
class.
right?
Yes,
And so
exactly.
like we
And
saw
they were
that
like,
and we're like,
eh, yeah, whatever, we'll do it better. And then they did it
you know.
different, but still bad, like,
But we also like as a generation collectively got to experience that and we went through it
correct,
together, right?
correct.
And like also if you wanted to be an enlightened person and you wanted to be like with it, you watched the Daily Show, there was also this was the era of the documentary,
Yeah.
right? Like this is the fog of war, this is Bowling for Columbine. This
Century of
is like
Self. Yes,
yes,
correct.
this is when if you were like a hip person, you had to go and basically read a movie book, right?
Uh-huh.
Like now, what we used to go watch a documentary for is now a like an hour and a half YouTube with a guy telling you lies.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how I wind up on the Imam algorithm
Yeah.
because I like that sprinkle sprinkle lady.
You love her.
I love
Yeah,
the sprinkle sprinkle lady.
you
So
do.
like that's why I wind up on the algorithm where it's just a lot of imams talking about like how women are queens and should not work. And I'm like, go off,
Yes.
go off.
That's why
And then
your
all of a
husband
sudden,
keeps resetting the router because he's like, this bitch is falling into a hole.
and then I'm like, oh, wait a second, this is dangerous. Like, but during our era, like we were all watching the era of the monoculture was thriving.
Yes.
And there was also a lot of information that was being disseminated because of the dawn of the internet, right? So it's
Right.
like this coalescing of a lot of like good things.
It was the
So
last like gasp of monoculture. I think
yes,
like 90s, 2000s. And then
yes.
once like 2010-ish hit, once the housing crisis hit, we were all fucking pissed. We were
I mean,
pissed.
that's remember when we were occupying Wall Street? Like
Yes.
it
Well,
was
that's what I
crazy.
was going to go back to is like you're saying like, oh, we try to occupy Wall Street, we can't, but now we're occupying like culture. And I think that's so right. And it makes more sense that we can occupy culture because It's literally something individuals consume, whereas Wall Street is not something individual. It's kind of like the electoral college of finance. Like it's like
Yes.
only the like select few that makes the moves and makes the economy move up and down. Like that's not culture. Culture is one to one. And that's why it's
Truly
so
democratic.
exciting. Yes.
Yes.
And that's why
Yes.
the splintering of a Taylor Swift fandom is so exciting, is because we are actually exercising our voice to be like, no thanks.
That's
And it's working.
yes.
Look at
It's
Jimmy
working.
Kimmel. Look at the pulling out of Hulu Disney. Like, it is actually working. Democracy at work, maybe not the financial systems, but culturally, and that affects everything. Like
It does eventually.
our soft
Yes.
culture
Yes.
is our culture is our soft power, and that's all we have. So if we are able to somehow fluctuate that and to demand change
Yes.
through this kind of democratic consumption, it's almost beautiful because it is about capitalism, and
Hmm.
it's us saying like binarily 1010 to
Yes.
that choice, which is so
Yes.
crazy. Like, I don't think we've ever been in a situation like that because of monoculture. Like, we were given four channels, and that's what we saw every day. Buy this, sell that, watch this, cry about this, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
now that it has broken, now all of a sudden their power of like media is broken. So like it's a very cool place to be as a consumer because we all of a sudden
Yeah.
have way more power than ever before.
And this was ultimately the promise of the internet when it
Correct.
initially started,
Correct. That's
right?
what
This
they
was the
told
promise.
us it was going to be about.
And then it was not. It was not.
No, they
It was
started.
metafied.
Yeah.
It was metafied. It was Twitterfied. You know
Yeah.
what I
It
mean? It
was
was all
immediate
these things.
surveillance.
And we all immediately got being started sold vitamins and potions and snake oil,
And
and all of a
nootropics.
sudden, yes,
Yeah.
and all of us, you know what I mean, like and everyone felt like, oh, am I not smart enough? Do we all have ADHD?
Yeah.
No, bitch, like we're all just addicted to our phones.
How many videos of self-diagnosis autism do I have to watch to be like, maybe not me?
Maybe whoever made this algorithm is
Yeah.
autistic, but not me. You know
Not
what I
me.
mean? Like
No.
it's like truly this engagement and the agency that people, I hope, start to feel. And I do think, again, talking to the youngs, they are in this strange position where they are actually, they were born addicted,
Uh-huh.
right? They were born like that
Crack
generation of
babies.
crack baby.
Yeah.
Yes, they were born addicted, but they know how bad it is.
Uh-huh.
But they've been stunted from the beginning, right? Like even if um you stay away from all of it because of your family history, you are just sort of like constitutionally weakened.
Yeah.
I think that's where they are. So maybe it's the next one where
The Gen
they're
A's.
kind of
Okay. Well,
where the
that's
screen
your
time
responsibility. I don't
where the
have
screen
kids.
time, yeah, the screen time is heavily restricted,
Uh-huh.
right? Like all this stuff.
Going back to dumb phones,
And like
analog
there's
days.
absolutely.
Yep.
And there's a lot of discussion around like how addictive it is and like being a lot more educated on it. And
Yes.
so now they're able to make informed decisions.
Yes. That's
Like,
interesting. It's interesting that cigarettes as culturally is back, but now
and the martini is as well.
yes, and we're treating internet as cigarettes now. Cuz remember there was a whole cultural movement away from cigarettes.
Yes.
Remember? The
Towards vaping.
truth.com. Yeah. Towards vaping, sure, but like away from big tobacco
Yes.
and stop like aggrandizing it and mystifying it and whatever and
Yes.
sexualizing it. Like every woman like sucking on it like it was a
Absolutely.
penis,
And
like
guess what? And guess what? It turns out they didn't need to do any of that because smoking is cool, right? Smoking actually does look sexy. You don't have to do anything extra.
I know. Or we're just confused by it from birth. But now that's kind of swinging back.
Yes.
I'm hoping as that swings back, internet swings into that, or phone or whatever, like connectiveness, swings into like cigarette territory of like, ugh, what? You're on social media? ew, you're
Gross.
looking at yeah, exactly. Like almost not even like it was a shame thing for us, but it was more like this is unhealthy, bro. Like, do you really? Oh, you smell what?
It means that you were uncultured and your
Yes,
parents like didn't love you, right? That you come from like
correct.
a
And you can't break this thing. Like you're not strong enough
yes.
to like break this addiction, bro. Like,
You
what's
you
wrong
come
with
from like a
you?
lower middle class home,
Boom.
right?
Exactly.
If you're
If you're
smoking
addicted to
like
a screen, I think,
your parents
quote
couldn't
me on
pay
this. Yeah, for tutoring. Oh, you can't read? I think that's good. Like, I think reading books is gonna become the Gen A's like new status symbol.
Okay,
Yes.
let's say it right here on Two Kims One Pod.
Pod.
Um, Reading books will be the new status symbol along with being busted.
Hello. No more skincare. No more. No more digital. No digital footprint. No more skincare. All right. Be ugly. Have glasses, and learn.
Be free, bitch.
Yeah.
But also smoke cigarettes and make all this mistakes.
I don't condone that part, but yeah, whatever. Do what you will. All right. Thanks so much for listening and joining us. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.